สวัสดีครับ Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jirawat Karanwittayakarn. I am technology evangelist from Thailand. In my background, I have experiences in Android development over 6 years, and I'm also the Google developer expert for Firebase. I'm so excited to be here today because this is my first talk in Japan. So today, I will tell you how to accelerate your Android Gradle and generate optimized APK by Android Studio. First of all, let me check the audience in this room. How many of you are Android developers? Raise your hand, please. Okay, I think 40% are Android developers. The most of you may be iOS developer, right? Just kidding. Okay. So in my talk today will be structured into three parts. At first, I will introduce Lyman to you. And second, I will tell you a tip how to make your app smaller. And third, I will tell you techniques how to build your app faster. First of all, let me introduce Lyman. Lyman is an on-demand assistant app with professional services that serve all Thai user needs at any time. Right now, in Thailand, we have 1 million active users in this app per month. Lyman comes with 5 professional services, including food delivery, convenient good delivery, messenger service, parcel service, and taxi. Especially for food delivery, we are number 1 in Thailand now. We have over 40,000 restaurants partnering with us. So my knowledge that I will share you today is from my experiences, from the Google I/O, and from Developer Build Clinic. I'm lucky that I was chosen by Android Studio team, just me from Southeast Asia to join this program. So Developer Build Clinic is one-on-one consulting on the building for performance in Android Studio provided by Android Studio team. And I have been the part of this since 2016. And I gather many of tips and techniques from this program. So Lyman, actually we have the client app and driver app. So today I will bring driver app to do the experiment in this show. So the actual result may vary. I would like to notice you. The actual result may vary. It depends on your project characteristics, such as the CPU you have in your machine, resources you have in your project, or dependency you import in your project. So let's start with how to make your app smaller. I know the APK size, the app size, is very important factor that impact with your user engagement. So I will tell you the tips how to build it smaller. As first, I would like to show the BlindMan Driver app size. Right now, the current version we have 9 megabytes in BlindMan Driver. So the quick recommendation for me, I would like to know how many of you know about the APK analyzer or you are using APK analyzer. Please raise your hand. That's great. Just few of you know about this. So APK analyzer is a feature in Android Studio since Android Studio 2.2. It's very useful too. So I think the most of you may developing on the legacy project, right? And you may use your resources in your project, but you may not know about this. And maybe you don't want to remove it yourself because if you're afraid if you remove it, you will make your app crash. So for APK analyzer, for APK analyzer, they allow you to upload your APK to Android Studio and break down your packages in your application, like a layout string, or maybe the function code that you write. So in this tool, we'll tell which part is big or which part is small. So you can prioritize which part you would like to fix it first, optimize it first. It's very useful. Let's go to the tip 1. Remove unused resources. So for the tip 1, yes, as I told you, I think the most of you working on the legacy project. And you don't want to remove unused resources by yourself, right? This tool will provide the menu. You just click the Remove Unused Resources menu in the taskbar. Android Studio will find unused resources like a layout, string, images in your project automatically. You don't need to find it yourself. So after that, Android Studio will provide you to preview all of unused resources you have in your project. You can delete it, remove it manually, or you can just click one to remove all of it. This technique helps you a lot to reduce your app size. And tip 2 is to just add just dependency you need. Some dependency, they include a bunch of library in one dependency. The popular one, you may know, Google Play Services or Facebook SDK. There are many libraries included in one dependency. So sometimes I see Android developer specify it like an entire of dependency. If you specify it entire of dependency, this one will make your app fat. So I encourage you to specify the method or library that you would like to use. For example, if you would like to do the authentication in Google Play Services, you just use the Google Play Services -authentication auth. So your app should be smaller. And if you don't know how many dependency or library inside dependency you have, you can use this command line in the screen. You can run this in the terminal in the terminal. They will break down all dependency you have in your project like this, and you can decide to remove some of them. Tip 3 is to build multiple APK for screen density. By default, Android Studio will build a universal APK, just one APK for you. And the one APK will include all of screen density, low, medium, high, for example. So in this tip, you can specify CPU that you would like to take care. I think right now, a screen density that you would like to take care. Maybe you don't want to support the low dependency density right now because it's, I think, hardly to find the low density, screen density in the Android market right now. You can exclude it in the Gradle file. After that, when you build your APK, Android Studio will build multiple APK for you. You just grab all of this and upload it to Google Play. When your user download your app, Google Play will serve only screen density that fit with your user device. Tip 4 is to build multiple APK for ABIs. This one is similar with the previous tip, but it's different with the CPU architecture that you would like to take care. You can include or exclude CPU that you would like to take care. I think in Android market in the world right now, there are 7 CPU architecture. 4 of them on the screen, you may know. It's easy to find in Android market, but 3 of them is hardly to find, like ARM ABI, MIPS 64. It's not easy to find in Android market right now, and you can exclude it. After that, you build your APK, they will generate a multiple APK for you. You upload all of the APK in the Google Play, and Google Play will serve only CPU that's specific with the user device. Tip 5 is to build an APK with specific APIs. This tip is different with the previous tip. This tip, you can filter, you can select the CPU that you would like to take care, and then when you build APK, the Android Studio will generate just one APK for you that includes a CPU that you specify here. So in my experience, I prefer this way because in my experience, when I build multiple APK and I deployed it to the Google Play, I found some clash from some devices. So this tip more safer, and I encourage you to try that. Next one, tip 6. Tip 6 is to remove unused alternative resources. Sometimes you create an application and you would like to target users in your region or in your country only. But some dependency or some library that you import into your project that contain all of languages around the world. So maybe you not need to include all of them, right? Like a Lyman driver now is available, is a local innovation, and is available only in Thailand. We can specify EN and TH in less config property in Gradle file. So this tip will remove another languages that not in the less config. So your app would be smaller. Next is tip 7, is to shrink unused code and resources. So this tip, I think, if you are an Android developer, you know minify enable property here, right? By default, when you create an application in Android Studio, minify enable property will set to false. But I think that most of you set it to true. For the smaller reason or maybe secure reason, they will do minify and obfuscate your source code. So I encourage you to add shrink resources property here as well and set it to true. After minify, remove unused function, unused source code. And you may not know some source code is referred to another resources. Shrink resources will remove unused resources after minify for you. So your app will be smaller. And lastly, in this screen, how many of you know this technique, dash optimize? Raise your hand, please. Just one. Okay, no more, just one. Yes, I think that most of you not know about dash optimize. So in this technique, in the broadcast line in Gradle, you can specify dash optimize after broadcast dash Android here. Android Studio and Gradle will do more optimize to generate your application. Your app will be smaller, but the building time will be increased as well. So I encourage you to do it in release block in the Gradle file because in development you will take more time. Tip 8 is to use shape drawable. I always see developers when they would like to draw the rectangle, oval, or fill the gradient background, rounded corner image, they will go to meet the designer team and ask for the graphic from the designer team. And you have to wait designer team set the graphic to you, right? Take time. And the graphic from designer is a bitmap image. PNG is a bitmap. Bitmap is bigger than XML. So shape drawable allow you to draw rectangle, oval, fill the background, gradient background, or rounded corner by XML. This is a good way to make your app smaller. Tip 9 is to use WebP. WebP is another image format provided by Google. WebP is smaller than PNG for sure. up to 30%. And now, if your application you're working on is, you use the Android, you support the minimum SDK, level 15, but lower than 18, the WebP will support you only APK background. But if your Android API level that you support in the minimum SDK is 18 and above, you can get benefit to do the transparency background. Let me show you an example. This is a Lyman project. Then I just imported one image to this project in the drawable folder. When I would like to convert the PNG file to the WebP, Android Studio provides the easier tool to you, easy tool to you. You just select the image that you would like to convert, do the right click, and you will see convert to WebP menu. After that, you click it, you will see this window. And this window, what I would like to focus. Let's see the original size of this image. The original size is 2.1 megabyte, right? You see it? And after that, I toggle the quality of image to 90% of the original one and convert it to the WebP. You see the new size of image is around 300 KB. It's about 15% of the original one. And the middle area will tell you the differentiation between original one and the new one in WebP format. It's really good, right? Just go back home and try to convert it to WebP. And tip 10 is to use vector drawable. Vector is smaller than bitmap. I think that most of you know about this. So if you are an Android developer and you would like to support fragmentation of devices around the world, you have to create many screen density resources like low, medium, high, extra. For example, many pieces of images that you have to support. But in vector drawable, you just create one file. It can reduce its size automatically for any screen density with the same quality of image. So now it's available since Android API level 11. If you support the API level 11 and above, you can use the vector drawable. You can get the benefit from them. But if you support your minimum SDK version is lower than 11, you can use the support library version 23.2 and above. So you can also use the vector drawable in your project. So let's see the cumulative improvement. At first, Lyman Driver size is 9 megabyte. And after I apply these tips, the app size is 7.9 megabyte. The actual result may vary. If you have the project that's bigger than me, the app size will be smaller this many times, maybe. Let's move to the next topic. So I think build speed is critical to your productivity that Android developer would like to improve it. In my experience, I used to work on the project that I have to build full build. For the full build, I have to spend 8 minutes for one APK. Has anyone has building time more than 8 minutes in this room? How many? 13, 20 minutes. Okay, you should come to this session. This session will help you. Yeah, maybe 13, maybe 20 minutes. So I will tell you the technique how to build BlindMan Driver app faster by Gradle and Android Studio. At first, I would like to show you the current building speed. This is the full build speed in BlindMan App Driver. Now we have 3 minutes, around 3 minutes for the full build. Technique 1 is to use the listed Android plugin. I encourage you to update your Android Studio and use the latest Android plugin because there are a lot of bug fixes and performance issue fixes. I think the most of you use the latest one. So how many of you use Android Studio version lower than 3.0? Okay, no one. Eclipse? Okay, no. And next, technique 2, to avoid legacy multideck. As you know, if your app exceeds 64K method limit in Android, you will have to use the multideck in Android. So in the same time, if you use the multideck in Android and you support the minimum SDK version lower below 21, it will something called legacy multideck. And legacy multidecks will make you build your app super slower in a significant time. So to avoid the legacy multideck, you can create the product favor in the Gradle file. Like for example, I create the development block here, and you can put the minimum SDK version 21 and above here. So in the development, we don't need to support the min SDK version 15, 17, 18, right? We can use the minimum SDK 21 and upper. And technique 3 is to disable multi-APK. This technique is related with the topic the tip that I told you in the smaller app before, to split the APK. So for splitting APK, to create a multiple APK, Android Studio and Gradle have to take more time to create multi-APK for you. So in the development, I think it's not need to spend time for this. You can specify 2 lines of code like this and set it to false. Specify the property here and set it to false in the debug block in the Gradle file. So Android Studio and Gradle will ignore to create the multiple APK. So you will reduce time in building. And technique 4 is to include the minimal resources. In this one, in the development, by default, Android Studio will contain on-off resources to build an APK for you, like languages or the screen density. In development, you don't need to include all of them. You just want specific language or screen density that fit with the testing device. So you can specify the less config property in the Gradle file and specify language and screen density that you would like to test. It will reduce the building time as well. Technique 5 is to disable PNG crunching. So by default, AAPT in Android Studio will crunch all of PNG file in your project. It's good for the release APK, right? Because your app will be smaller. But in this process, it will take time to crunch all of PNG file in your project. So to avoid it, you can specify the property on the screen and set it to false in the debug block in the Gradle file. So Android Studio and Gradle will ignore to crunch your image, to crunch your PNG file in the development. Technique 6 is to use instant run. How many of you use instant run in Android development? Surprise me, or just one? Okay, just one. So by default, you see the run button is like a pay symbol. Stay beside the thunder symbol. When you run the Android Studio, when you run your app, Android Studio will try to do the code swap. The code swap will make your app, you have to restart your app every time when you run the code swap. If you place on the play symbol, you have to restart app every time. Sounds terrible. Because maybe you test your app on the screen 5, 6, 7, and you have to restart everything. But if you place on the thunder symbol, we call the apply change button. It will try to do instant run. It will try to run the warm and hot swap first. So the code changes you made will directly deploy to the live process. You don't need to restart your application. Technique 7 is to disable updating build ID in file-based ClashLytic. I think the most of mobile developers use ClashLytic like it is the #1 Clash reporter in the world, in the mobile world right now. In BlindMan Driver, we use file-based ClashLytic as well. So you may not know, every build, when you build your application, file-based ClashLytic will regenerate build ID every time, and it takes time to do this. So to avoid it, ClashLytic team provide you a flag that you can set the property ext always update build ID here and set it to false in the debug box in Gradle file. So every time you build it, the ClashLytic will ignore to regenerate ID for you. But please remind, don't forget, just use in development only. And technique 8 is to don't use dynamic version of the dependency. The Gradle provides you the convenient way to update the latest dependency you use, right? You can use the plus symbol at the end of the dependency line. So if you add it, every 24 hours, Gradle will check the latest version each dependency. So this process will take more time as well. So I encourage you to specify only the version that you want to use in your project. You will get benefit from the specify the actual version. 1, you will build faster. 2, it's more safer because you may not know the newer version from the dependency will make your app crash, right? And technique 9 is to configure your Gradle property. All of code that you see on the screen is from my experiences in Android development. I think this is like a magic. For example, I would like to mention some of them. The first line, by default, when you create the application and Android will specify the memory is to 1.5 gigabyte. So 1.5 gigabyte in the default may be good or may be bad. It depends on the project characteristic and build environment you have. So for my machine, I have 16 gigabyte of RAM memory. I adjust it from 1.5 to 4 gigabytes. And it will make me build my app faster. Another one I would like to mention is the Gradle crashing. Gradle crashing is a new technique from the Gradle team and released since Gradle file version 4.2. You can get benefit from this technique because when you build your app first time and after that, next build, they will cache some resources and some source code for you, so you will build faster. So I encourage you to take this picture, or maybe after my talk, this slide will be available and you can download it and try it at your home. It's super faster and you never expect before. And technique 10 is to use R8. R8 is a new generation of code shrinker. It's available in upcoming Android Studio, in Android Studio version 3.3. Now 3.3 is in the Canary channel. You can download this version and try the R8 code shrinker. So in R8, they will remove unused source code and resources for you automatically. And Android Studio team claim the dexing time and shrinking time will be faster, and the deck file size will be smaller as well. So let's see the building speed after I apply this technique. So right now, the building speed in Lyman Driver is 1 minute. Here are cumulative improvements. At first, the building time is around 3 minutes, and right now, 1 minute. And let you imagine how many times that Android developer have to build their project per day. 100, 200 times? Yeah. If you do this, for me, for Lyman Driver, I save 3 times faster. Any clap? Oh, thank you. So let you imagine if your project is bigger than Lyman Driver, you will save more time for developer, right? And one more thing that I would like to share you. Starting from now, Android Studio 3.2 has a new feature called Android App Bundle. I think that most of you may know from the Google I/O this year, right? Android App Bundle. So Android App Bundle is the new publishing format to help you reduce your app size in the easiest way that I know. You don't need to add any line of code in your project. You just export the new way, export your application to the new way. The extension of application is not APK anymore if you do this method. The extension of application will be ABD, Android App Bundle. And you will have to take more time to build your application. But you will get benefit from them. When you upload it to the Google Play new dynamic delivery will deliver only resources and functions that's specific with your user device needs. No need any line of code. So that's all for me. I think this tip and technique will help you increase more productivity in your project. And I can't wait to see what smaller app and faster app you build in the future soon. So happy coding. Arigatou gozaimasu.
以上をもち